The Motor Enthusiasts Club hosted the fourth weekend of events to take place in the Naul Engineering National Hillclimb and Sprint Championship 2015. In tribute to the late champion driver Simon McKinley, who lived close to the top of the hill, it was decided to run at the Naul for one more year before giving the residents a break. Thanks to their patience and understanding, a tribute weekend which was brimful of sportsmanship, friendship and courage took place. The tight-knit Hillclimb family rallied around to support each other in a very special way that exemplified the characteristics of the man who had lived the sport. Joe Courtney, who had everything straightened out after a little incident in Limerick, had strong opposition on Saturday morning from Seamus Morris in a Pilbeam. There was only 4 tenths between them. Rory Stevens was tight behind Seamus Morris himself, and just 7 tenths behind at the end of the day in the radical SR8.
Pretty close between 3 of us, myself, Seamus Morris and Rory, Grandad.
But Joe found his game on run 3 and hit his target time exactly.
I was aiming for 39 seconds and I got 39.00.
Joe cracked the 39-second barrier on the first run Sunday with 38.38, but also cracked his gearbox casing. No better man to fix it, but that was it for the Reynard for this weekend. And the remarkable Simon McKinley LANT RT2 record of 36.67 still stands. Robert Bell, Simon's cousin, won Class 6 and was 4th overall in his Crosley.
Myself and Simon built it. We got it out in Alan Kesey's shed, so we did, and it was a Formula Ford, so it was 1600. And we changed it into an R1 engine force, the Yamaha. And then we hadn't enough power, so we went Hayabusa, so we did, and we're still looking for more power, so we might go turbo next year or bore it out, something bigger and better, to catch up with the bigger boys, to give them run, especially Rory Stevens, give him a run for his money, keep him on his toes. And yeah, there's a lot of work into it. Like, it's a Sierra diff, so it is Sierra diff, and with muck spreader bearings on it. There's 2 big bearings there, and just R1 sprocket on it. We can't get any more big RT in it to get more torque because of the chassis. So yeah, it seems to be going pretty well, and we got new drive shafts because we broke them in Carlow last year. So we got new shafts in from BC in England. It's simple and works well, so it does. Keeps going.
What's your best result over the years?
Best result would be Knockalla. Knockalla would have been my best result, so it would have been. And look at this fraud going to break the car when it's going to beat him. We're getting more power next year, Rory, so yeah.
On Sunday, Robert would improve his personal best but was caught by Alex Wilsden Jr., who took the Class 6 win then. John Mahon was second in Class 6 on Saturday and third on Sunday, despite a boost from John FITZGERALD.
I'm glad I made that agriculture novel now that you walk by and seen it.
There you are.
I'll bet it is. Yeah, what did you pay for that?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
No, mine are in the bin and I forgot to cut it. I had one of them suckers and I forgot to cut it off it.
Well, I have the bits to. I think I have the crimps and all that. If you want to crimp it on.
Yeah, I'll do it properly now. Actually.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, I get the bit.
I leave it out here. You would be really handy at that job as well. Is that what I'm doing?
Yes. Yeah, I've most gas though, and I know
I have gas in the back of the van.
Okay, well, there you are.
Oh, that's it.
I'm soldering in afterwards. Just to make sure. You have a bigger screwdriver. This is all what you do.
Let's see, this should work now. It's reading the voltage anyway.
Ronan Dunn completed the Class 6 podium on Saturday in the Van Diemen. Northern visitor Richard McGimsey was 9th overall in his unusual Busa Turbo. The big saloon battle raged on between Éanna Carroll and Martin Tracy in favour of Éanna Carroll, breaking their tie in the championship and putting the Civic 2 points ahead. Éanna was fastest in Class 3B both days. Brendan Keane made a welcome return to hill climbing and was second in the class on the 2 rounds, 10th overall on Saturday. Martin Flanagan was third in his M3 on the first day, but had to give way to the rear-wheel drive 205 of Neil Duggan on the second. Mark Carroll took 4th on day 1 in the now very competitive class. There's something unusual lurking in the engine bay of Ben O'Brien's Beamer. Ben O'Brien, there's a surprise when you start your car, isn't there? It's a diesel.
Yes, 330D. Pretty much standard road car setup. There is a hybrid turbo fitted and it's just recently been mapped, so today is the first day out after the map, so here goes. Made power around 250 horsepower, so we'll see, though ultimately in class 3B kind of the closest competitor I suppose would be an M3, which would probably have a bit of an edge on it, you know. But yeah, so who knows today. It's a great hill, so we'll give it our best shot anyway, you know.
What made you decide to go for a diesel?
It wasn't any conscious decision. It was I wanted to do the Shell. I love four-door cars, so we did the Shell for France. I think it was 2012 or 13. Got the Shell together, have E46 M3 running gear for it. That's what I planned on fitting. But as usual with all motorsport plans and projects, it started to spill closer and closer to France. Car wasn't done, so it ended up having the 330D. So I said, look, I'll just leave it in it for France. And when I went over, it was actually great crack. It was real kind of, you know, as far as I'm aware, it's the only kind of active diesel kind of race car out there for hillclimb and sprints anyway that I'm aware of.
You recently went on a weight saving
Yes, we got
mission with it.
45 kilos from it. I had initially, because we were in such a panic to get the car done, I had left the roof panel in it, so we decided to convert back across to a non-sunroof roof panel.
Very good. And you had a bit of pressure getting it ready for this weekend?
Little bit, yeah, as per what's becoming nearly usual at this stage. We sent the car up to be mapped on Friday, had everything organised to get racing Saturday morning. Turned around, did the rolling road fine. It was perfect all day on the dyno. Took it down just to take it for a spin around the estate just to make sure it was boosting okay and everything like that. And literally prop shaft exploded. So looked in under the car and saw bolts and grease everywhere and decided back to the workshop. So back from Dublin then to Shannon to the workshop. Got the car sorted all day yesterday. Managed to cobble together a drive shaft. Still got an M3 drive shaft in it. Cobbled it together and here we are. So hopefully it'll stay in one piece today.
Peter McKinley, Simon's dad, kept the legend of the White Escort alive, reunited with the car he built and his old number. Struggling a bit with gear selection issues, which held him back a bit, he was fourth in 3B on Sunday, pushing Mark back a position. Brothers Des and John FITZGERALD are probably not the most competitive drivers in Class 3B, but they are enjoying big car thrills in their M3 that John built. Des FITZGERALD, you've travelled over from the UK to drive your brother's car, is that true?
It is true, yeah. I came over yesterday morning at about 4 o'clock in the morning. I left Northampton and yeah, here for the weekend.
And what kind of power has this car got?
It apparently it has over 300 brake horsepower, but sure, you never know really.
And it's probably quite a light car as well.
It is. It's I think we weighed it a couple of weeks ago. It was just at the 1,000 kilos, but there's still maybe a little bit to lose from it. But honestly, it's quicker than we can deal with at the moment, so we're happy enough. You
actually have kind of motorsport in your profession, don't you? Your qualification was actually in motorsport engineering, is that right?
Yeah. Well, I left in 2005, went over to Swansea, and I did a motorsport engineering and design there. Actually following in the footsteps of another friend of mine who'd gone the years before, and loved it. Not actually doing motorsport as such, but everything sort of handed itself over to the job I'm doing.
But it was the enthusiasm for motorsport that led you there.
Definitely, yeah. I was always worried that I couldn't do what I loved, and now I do what I love, and it's all down to motorsport and hillclimbing.
You can make a career out of that enthusiasm.
You definitely can, yeah. There's careers out there, and people don't know about it. I'd honestly recommend to anyone, if you really want to do it, it's a big step, but it's well worth it. Definitely.
Follow your passion, and you'll excel.
Exactly.
Robert Dwan piloted the Falcon Mini to first in Class 3A both days. Now Robert Dwan, you're a young man driving a car with a lot of Hillclimb history.
Yes, definitely.
Tell me about it.
The car was originally built in Scotland in 1991 and campaigned by Andy Kittle in the north for about 3 years. Then Carol Cleary had bought the car and he Hillclimbed it for about 6 or 7 years, and then my father bought it, Jared Dwan, and he raced it for about 8 years as well. And I started racing it the last 2 years. We did the championship last year and finished 5th overall and first in the 2 litre class. So.
What age are you?
I'm 18 now. 18 since March.
So you basically you got into this car as quick as you could.
I was in by the time I was 17, but I was able to rally sprint it at 16.
What's it like driving a car like this?
Mental.
Yeah.
Mental. It's brilliant now, in fairness. It's an animal of a car to drive. It's violent, is the only real way to describe it. You kind of have to grab it by the scruff of the neck and say, look, I'm driving you, not the other way around.
What's the engine?
It's a 1400 8-valve mini engine, which is an original A-series block, but it's got an 8-port AIDAN head. And compared to an original Mini, the inlets are at the other side.
And it's a space framed?
Full space framed.
Fully space framed car.
All tubular chassis and fiberglass bodywork. Aluminium interior and floor.
Very, very simple, isn't it?
Very simple.
Yeah. And simple is light, and light is fast.
Now he says it.
Yeah. And you really sit back right about as far as you can,
yeah,
don't you?
Nearly, actually, when you sit back, you're nearly sitting in the back seat as you would.
Yeah.
The closest window to you is looking out the passenger or the back window. So.
Plans for the next year?
Plans for next year, might do the championship next year. I did my leaving cert this year, so I was a bit restricted to racing. Apparently you're not allowed racing, you're doing the leaving cert, but yeah, hopefully we'll do the championship again next year and maybe go over to England again.
Yeah, you enjoyed that, didn't you?
Yeah, it's completely different.
Where did you go?
We went to Harewood, which is above Leeds. It's a purposely built hill on an old farm estate, and it's completely different to here because they're not public roads, and it's like a billiard table. There isn't a ripple on it. There's curbs on the inside and gravel traps on the outside, and it's dead safe. It's like a proper racing circuit.
So lads, you won't tell me what weight it is, but you'll show me.
Of course. That's the way of it now.
Robert got as high as 5th overall on Saturday at Naul. Peter Boggin was 2nd on the 2 occasions and got as high as 9th that day. John Kennedy was 3rd each time in his home-built Dax Rush. There was a great entry yet again in the Cento Challenge, with as many as 14 cars starting on Sunday. On the first run, Gary Egan immediately broke the record, which he held from last year. Aidan Courtney followed just over 4/10 of a second behind. Billy White was 3rd on his home hill. We caught up with them after a couple of runs. How you getting on today, Gary?
Yeah, fairly good, Shannon. Bet last year's record, so really happy with that. Have a good lead now of about 0.6 of a second, so hopefully we just hold it there for the last run. The lads might get quicker off the rain.
So you probably went up this road 10 times last year, 10 times the year before. Where are you finding the time?
I don't know really, just making it a bit tidy everywhere and just pushing a wee bit harder each time when you're getting more comfortable, you know. So that's pretty much it.
So you're holding on to that record?
Hopefully so, yeah.
And what's he doing to your car now?
There's all the time. Look at this.
Oh, massive, wow.
Massive spec.
Is that a lunchbox? How are you finding it today, Billy?
Alright. I'm in 3rd at the minute. Hopefully I can go run 4 again. Put it out of the bag, but I don't know.
Where are you in relation to the old record?
A 10th ahead of last year's record. 3 of us are beating last year's record.
And who's the 3rd?
Aidan.
Aidan.
He's in between me and Gary.
Right. And what's the gap like?
Half a second to me and Aidan, and another half a second to Gary. So in Cento terms, it's like a mile.
The highly competitive Neil Bradbury was not impressed to be over 2 seconds off the pace. How are you getting on, Neil?
Oh, badly.
What's the trouble?
Not going quick enough.
Yeah.
But the next time I'm going flat through that corner.
Is this the secret to their pace? The lads review their in-cars after every run. Ben Dietrich, double driving with Aidan Courtney, explains how that works from his service area. Ben, this is your service area, is it?
Our service changeover fuel area It's the easiest spot to turn around when people stop and allow you to do it. And double driving is actually quite fun because you're learning off the other person to drive with. And it gives you a benchmark to try and work towards.
And how does it actually work?
The runs are split in two halves, so you have all the saloon cars in the first half. They'll go up, they'll finish their run, and then they'll be brought back down. Generally the first few cars are the double drivers. They get brought in, they get changed around, and the rest of the drivers go back, and then the second lot when they come up, we'll go out ahead of them. And that gives us then the time to do it.
So two drivers can actually use one car?
Yeah, that works quite well.
After the swap, Aidan filled us in on his day so far.
Myself and Gary, we actually broke the record on the first time run of the day, and through the day we kept chipping away at the times. And now after the fourth run, it's Gary first, me second, and Billy White in third place. So rain's here now, that might be the way to save the day.
Yeah, that could seal the deal.
Yeah, it's good for my points to have Billy behind me, so it's good for me.
It rained then, sealing the times for the day. Neil was pumped up to do better on Sunday. Where'd you end up yesterday?
Only fourth.
Yeah.
Off the base. First time doing this hill, so happy enough.
But that was still just behind Billy. You should be good here, like.
I think it was over a second behind him, so.
That's not like you, really, is it?
Not really good enough in my book. Try better today. Try harder today.
Best of luck with that. Gary Egan, you're the fastest cento yesterday in the Naul Hillclimb. What's the secret to it?
I don't know, Senan, just a bit extra cheating or something during the week, but and I was just tidying it up from last year. I just know the hill very well. It's one of my favourite hills, so I think that helped and all. So try and go out and do the same today, just stay ahead of the lads and just do our best.
The results were looking similar to Saturday up to run 3. Event leader Gary was looking a bit reflective as the afternoon progressed. Bit of homework?
Bit of homework, yeah.
How's it going?
Not too bad, had a big moment in the last run, so I think that's all the speed we can get today, so still a bit of a lead, so hopefully it'll stay there now, yeah.
Very good.
Aidan's had gearbox trouble, so I think he's still going, he's struggling to get into third gear, so I think that's his day kind of done, you know. So, happy enough.
I met Aidan by 400s last week.
Yeah.
Well, he's kind of doing the same to me now this weekend. And Neil now.
Neil as well?
Yeah. 3 of us out in a tent for a second.
This home event blues.
Yeah, home event blues.
Gary's third time did stand as the new record, but things were hotting up behind him, with the added pressure of a special guest in Neil's car. So lads, it's a game on between you two at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, it's a pretty good competition all day, alright. I had some gear selection trouble there after the third run, but I managed to get it fixed, and it was out for the fourth run. But I went quicker, and then Neil went quicker than me again, so there's only 400ths of a second between us now.
So you're finding time, Neil?
Yeah, just been tidier through the bottom sections and just a bit quicker at the top.
But you've a celebrity double driver now, do you?
Oh yeah, Mr. Courtney, the other one. See, time will tell and see how he does.
That'll be interesting, yeah.
It will, yeah.
Very good, and you had a bit of an incident earlier on as well, did you?
Oh yeah, I was up on the edge. Like, you know, left wheel in the ditch and right wheel as well. So, that was exciting.
Event overall winner, Joe Courtney, took a spin in the Bradbury Cento. The reigning Cento champion claimed 5th, such is the pace this year.
Jump by the tree, I'll very much save it. I let off, but I let off with too much. That's way inside. No, I kept out of the ditch.
Did you enjoy that, Joe?
I did enjoy it now, yeah. A little bit different from the rain hour.
Damien Walsh was 5th on Saturday, maintaining 2nd place in the championship, having scored consistently all season. These guys were still at it, hammer and tongs after 10 runs. Neil got it together on the final run to jump from 4th to 2nd, and graciously gave us a rundown of the times.
Joe did a 53.61.
And what's the best time?
We have Gary Egan with a, what was it, Gary? 52.09. With Migration what was it? 52.65. Mr.
White with a 52.68.
Alright.
And Nathan Courtney with a 52.92.
The cars have 3 weeks to cool off before Donegal. Also cooling off were these officials. Stephen Gillis filled us in on his rider list.
No to all the Hillclimb clubs that run events, it helps a lot.
Is it the Raspberry Ripple?
No, it's the sprinkles that do it.
Okay.
Every time.
Deirdre McKinley has quickly adapted to tin top racing and continued with a succession of class wins on her home event at Naul. Second in the class on Saturday was a very rapid double driver, Paddy Bateman in Emmett Dunn's Civic. Emmett was second in class on Sunday. PJ Doyle was third on Sunday in his Peugeot 205. Second fastest lady this weekend was Leanne Carroll in her Challenge Spec Cento. Third was Della O'Reilly in her 1A Chink. Class 2 is becoming a bit of an unofficial 205 challenge. Gary Graham was our double winner here. Tony Banville claimed the 2 second places. Third on Saturday was Gerard Lonergan, and that position went to Derek McGuinness on Sunday. There was a distinguished entry in the Class 4 Historics, featuring Paul McLaughlin's Riley 9 Special, Ken McAvoy, Austin 7 Special, Colin Grant, Janetta G15, Liam Ruth, Austin Healy Sprite, Frank Manweiler, Hillman Californian. On scratch times each day it was Seamus Anderson 3rd, Ford Anglia, Mick O'Shea 2nd, MGB GT, and John Farrell 1st in the Ford Escort RS. On handicap, Tony Canny was fastest on Sunday in a Riley TT Sprite replica, while Barry Baker had claimed that award on Saturday. He told us the fascinating history of his car, and clocking 90 from Clock Jordan. Barry, can you tell us about your stunning car?
Well, it's a 1952 Buckler Mark V. It's a space frame car, and we believe they're one of the first space frame cars ever made with an aluminium body, so it's very light. It's based on a Ford Prefect or Popular. They were called Ford Specials back in the day, so it was a cheap man's motorsport. So it's evolved through the years, and it's a 100E engine in it now, which is again Ford based. It was early ones had the E93. It's a side valve engine. It was my dad's car. He was the Irish agent for these cars, and he was based down in Clock Jordan and bought in 3 of them that we know of. This was the first one. He sold it to a relation of his, Alec Malcolm, who competed with the car for years. And then Alec retired and the car sat and didn't really do much. And Alec asked us would we like to take the car back, and so we did, and my brother restored it, Don Baker, and we've had great fun out of it, doing hill climbs, Mondello, a few bits and pieces with it. So it's a great piece of history to have something that your dad made, and to have something as nice as this. And they're a very active car club. There's about 400 of them left in the world, and everywhere from New Zealand to Australia, England. We'd 4 of them came over from England last year to take part in Mondello Live, so it was really good fun to have 6 bucklers out on the track. First time that had been done since 1970.
Wow. What kind of age are they?
The first of them were built in 1948, and the last of them were built in 1960, 59-60. And the factory went into receivership then. The man who owned it kind of passed on. And so there's not very many of them left in the world, so they're becoming very rare and quite expensive.
So, and you're saying it's a tubular chassis, which is actually quite similar to how some of the single seaters that are here are made. Yeah. So, but this is the genesis of that idea.
They reckon Buckler did an awful lot of. They were the first tubular steel frame with an aluminium body, and then they did a lot of work for Lotus, and they built gear kits, and they did a lot of front suspension. Is a Buckler front suspension. It's independent, whereas the original would have been a V axle. So they were quite ahead of their time engineering-wise. And their chief engineer actually is still alive, Wilbur McKee, and Wilbur actually came over to Ireland and competed in the Gordon Bennett with his car. And it was nice to kind of see the engineer who was the guy who probably came up with the genesis for a lot of the stuff on this car.
And what's it like to drive a car like this?
It's surprisingly normal. It's a 3-speed box, so once you get used to that, it's fine. But it's crash gear on first, and then synchro on second and third. It'll do about 90. It's about 50 horsepower now in modified trim, so it's quick enough to be fun.
In the small single-seater Class 5, John Whitley claimed another win on Saturday in his Formula Ford. Gerard O'Connor was second in his Shane Formula V. They were both pushed down a position by Eugene French on Sunday, who scored a strong 22nd overall too in his V. Georgie Bell continues to dominate Class 8 this year. He's had maximum points on every round so far in his Civic. Dara Fay was second in a Mark 1 Suzuki Swift GTI, and championship contender David Byrne was third on the first day and second on Sunday. His points all has brought him within a point of William Cecil, who was third on day 2. Thomas O'Rourke claimed his 5th and 6th maximum scores in Class 9 at the Naul. Donny Lucy was second on Saturday and continues to lead the class championship. Another very welcome visitor this weekend was David James in his Mark II Escort, second in the class on Sunday. Robert Swain has now upgraded from Centos to a Honda Civic and had a strong first day in the car on Sunday, third in Class 9. Everybody wanted to make the Naul Hillclimb a successful weekend in tribute to Simon McKinley. This positive energy was tangible all weekend. The event started on time, a big effort was made to keep everybody informed, and a great barbecue was held outside his local on Saturday night.
Those shorts are worth at least 3 seconds a hill.
After the award ceremony, there was a poignant balloon tribute, and conversations in his memory amongst friends and family continued into the early hours. It's been a tough year for hill climbers, but they've proved themselves to be a resilient bunch. The strength of their community is a great part of his legacy.